different. I can't tell you how many times I've signed in with my work email because it's the same B letter
Oh, yeah.
and sat there and I'm like, send the password.
It's like we got the wrong email.
And I'm like, oh gosh.
Yeah, in my browser sometimes auto fills in stuff too, and it's like, no, I need to make sure it's like using the right, fields to fill in the blanks, yeah.
And, 1 minute on record. Need to make sure I don't forget to hit record.
Beautiful day today.
I know, it's sun.
I know. I never opened up the house.
Yeah, it's-
Dogs were laying in the sun. Maybe like this coming weekend, but next weekend it's supposed to be,
Lousy weather again.
yeah, like sort of. Oh, now it says no.
Here's where we're gonna be Saturday,
Whoa,
18
where are you going?
degrees, to Colorado.
Oh. Oh, that's right, that everything's moving.
Yeah,
Like,
it's storm now.
cold.
I thought the East Coast was getting clobbered too, from what I
Yeah,
understand.
it's all like moving up.
Yes, it's
Yeah, Nicole went to Original Joe's and sat outside last, was it Friday when it was super sunny?
Yeah.
And Nicole actually got, she had a short sleeve shirt, got a little sunburn on it.
Well, this past weekend I was down in Indio and it was really nice and sunny there, yeah. So a lot of us, yeah, were having to put on sunscreen and
Oh, yeah. That's all, yeah.
we were watching lacrosse, it was a lacrosse tournament, so
Oh.
2 days of just sitting out in the sun. It was fun, yeah, a lot of driving though to get there and back again.
Yeah, but if you gotta go to a tournament, it's somewhere sunny.
Yeah,
It's nice.
exactly, it's huge, they have 80 fields and teams from all over the nation.
It's like ripping.
Yeah.
It's 7 o'clock.
Oh, 7, okay, let's go and call this meeting to order. It's 7 o'clock, so Director Vincent, do you want to go ahead and lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, just doing a quick roll call. We've got all directors present except Vice Chair Bernardo, who has an excused absence. Why don't we go ahead and start then with any public comment? Michelle, any?
I have no speakers.
Okay, all right, so then why don't we go ahead and start then with the report and.
So I have a written report in in your packet. I wanted to highlight a couple things you received from me today, I believe it was. Some information from the court reporter, recorder's office and elections. There was a assembly bill that was passed that allows elected officials voter information to be confidential, including address. There is an opt-in requirement if you would like that to happen, so please read that information that I sent and follow the instructions with the clerk recorder's office. You also should have received an email from the county on your Form 700 that is due April 1st. So please make sure if you have not received that, let me know so I can chase that down for you. And then as at the last meeting, I told you that we were moving the anniversary party. We're actually doing a half year anniversary party, so it's now on June 18th. So that is a day that we have. It's a Thursday. I could find time in the community center, and it's almost just exactly a half year. So that is what we have right now, June 18th. If somebody has a major issue, let me know and we'll figure something else out.
But not evening?
It's evening, yeah, it's an evening. So
I'll check
Yeah.
my calendar.
So check your calendars. I'm giving you, we have a few months. If I have to move it and do it not in the community center, we can work on that. But yeah, please let me know if you can arrange your schedules. I greatly appreciate it. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Questions? Any comments?
But the senior report was really cool, the singles, even. Really neat.
All right, well, I guess we'll go ahead and close that item and then we'll move into the consent calendar. Consent calendar is intended to be acted as one motion. So unless anybody would want to pull a particular item off of the consent calendar. So with any motions on the consent calendar?
I'll move approval of the consent calendar.
Okay, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Great, we'll close down that consent calendar item 5 and then move into the action items for tonight. So tonight's action item is to look at the rental rates increasing for facilities effective as of February 1st. And so Michelle, you want to get started?
Yes, I'm gonna ask Ryan Herman, our manager for facilities, to join me. He has been hitting for Lance tonight, who had a family obligation. And since Ryan put the information together anyways, best to have him here, so I'm going to let Ryan provide the report.
Good evening, guys.
Good.
Looks like we haven't raised our rental rates since 2024. The previous time before that was 2015. We've pretty much been busy as all can be for the last couple of years now, especially on Saturdays and weekends at majority of our centers. With the increase of cost staffing, supplies, utilities, things like that, we're proposing a 5% rate increase across the board and then an additional 5% on Saturdays at all centers. Compared to other centers in the area, most of them have done the same over the last 2 years based on the numbers that we just ran. So we feel that it's a fair increase. And then obviously there's a 10% discount for nonprofit groups and a 20% increase for non-residents as well.
Ryan did put together the comparables. We're making the recommendation regardless, but if you guys want to pass that around, it wasn't ready for your packet. But he does have the comparables. It keeps us in line depending on the day. We're still in the higher end as we were last time, but we also have the best facility in the area. And so the colors are coded. So the far right is Pleasant Hill Rec, and the color code is the comparable rooms in each of those for size and kind of use and space, I believe, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, so the blue ones would be the kind of trying to match the chateau room in terms of size. The greenish.
The greenish
one, sorry, I didn't print out that great.
Yeah.
The greenish ones are the closest we can get to the prayer pavilion, and then the pavilion would be the other lighter purple ones.
And the pavilion room is half of the large room
They're
together.
like the carpeted half.
Carpeted
Yeah.
of the full room, the big room. So when it's all used as one, it's called the prayer pavilion, and when it's just the carpeted side, it's just the pavilion room, and the dance studio on the other side. It's hard, not everyone does things, a lot of people have minimums and things like that we don't have, but I think it's the best we could do to get similar comparables as we did last time, so.
Question.
Yeah.
So are these sort of a block of time then, like the suggestions here on the proposed increase? So it's just like, career room 351 is just sort of a block of time, like a per hour.
No, it's per hour.
Per hour.
Yeah, these are all per hour across
So
the board.
these other ones these are like minimum than 9 hours, so it's like 280 with the 9
Per
hour
hour.
minimum.
Yes.
Yes,
So
so we currently do 8-hour minimums on Saturdays for our larger rooms, the Pereira and the Chateau. We don't rent the pavilion on a Saturday because there's a wait every time, or there's a wait list of people every time, so we always make them rent the large room, which is the Pereira Pavilion. So yeah, some places have 8-9 hour minimums. I think there was like maybe one that had like a
10.
6, that, yeah, there's a couple 10s in there.
But all of these comparables are per hour.
Yeah. There's like one on here that broke it down into a block of 10 hours or something like that, but we just did the math and broke it hourly.
Other questions?
Right, yeah, I would appreciate this, because I was curious if it was, sounded like from the staff report, it was driven by the, like, increase in costs and staffing and supplies and everything, and so I was glad to see this, but I was just curious, is that, I don't have a problem, with this, it was just more of like, is the 5% increase, or is staffing and the supplies and everything that's going up, is that outpacing the 5% increase, or are we ahead of the?
It's not outpacing it.
Okay.
I mean,
I
we're
understand.
still behind from last year,
Gotcha,
and so it's definitely not outpacing it. I think it's keeping us close. And so, but yeah.
That was it.
Have we had any groups or individuals express concern over our rates?
Not usually, we get someone every once in a while that say that we're expensive or this or that, but I mean, we're compared to a lot of other places. Some places are trying to compare us to like private facilities.
Mhm.
So like when I worked in food and beverage, they might have a $1,000 room rate, but they're charging you all the food and beverage on that end. So every
Right.
once in a while you get somebody that's kind of comparing those things, but in terms of apples to apples, we're very comparable to a lot of our competitors. And then I looked at previous years from 23 to 26 at our other agencies, and they've all increased anywhere from 5, 10, 12% across the board as well.
Well, like other comments, if that's okay. One is, are there any groups that are, I know if they're under contract, they don't, their rates aren't increased. Is that on a yearly basis, or are there any groups that have long-term?
So anybody that we have that's a regular use group, we
Yeah.
basically will tell them about this and we'll say, hey, look, book for a full year out to give them
Right.
the biggest advantage of keeping
Right.
the original cost, or if they're still currently under contract, like for the rest of 26, we wouldn't change any of their rates. We would keep their rates at the existing rates that they're at, but
Right.
once that their contract ends, like a full year out from like
Okay.
February, then they would be on the new rates.
Okay, right, that's good.
We'll give them an entire year.
Sure. No, I think that's good. And I like that even though we raised it in 24, a lot has happened between 24 and now. And I would hope that we don't want to see another big, huge gap, between like 15 and 50, how many years was that? 5, 9 years
9 years,
before? Yeah,
yeah. We did it 2 years before.
Yeah, we're
Right.
thinking about bringing them back every 2-year budget
Yeah.
cycle.
Yeah.
So kind of the,
Just for
Yeah.
Sandy, for example, Concord, their non-resident Saturday 2 years ago, or when we did this,
Mhm.
was 317. They're now 396.
Yeah.
So they went up 20%.
sure.
Mhm.
There's a couple other that didn't go up quite that much, but this was the first one that I grabbed.
Okay, and you answered all my other questions with your spreadsheet here, so thank you for that. Okay, I don't have any issue with this.
Yeah, and I appreciate, also having this put together to kind of see, comparable rooms, in the region. And my question was, is it typical then to have, sort of a premium rental for, Fridays and weekend? But it looks like, based on other, groups, they also do that. So.
Yeah, most agencies have like a weekday and then a Friday or Saturday or a Sunday rate, however they're gonna do it. Some of them only have like a weekend rate that just goes through the whole week. For example, Danville, they're not showing a daytime or like a weekday rate. They just have their full rates for the whole week.
Yeah, my concern was, like, if, we sort of arbitrarily raise 5% to kind of help with, the costs of the expenses and utilities. If we could still have, similar sort of justification then for the additional 5% for weekends, it seems, that's maybe sort of in response to the amount of demand that we have for these facilities, just to kind of help, ensure that we're, kind of keeping up with what others are doing for, sort of weekends as well. So.
how many Saturday, we book a year out from Saturdays, so how many Saturday applications are you getting? on average?
On average, 2 to 3, just kind of depends on the time of year. When we get into summertime and like big wedding times, things like that, there could be 6, 7 that are coming in for a single day. So the demand is definitely still there. Sometimes through the year, we won't have, we'll only have one contract. Usually it's like January or, something like that.
Period.
Yeah. But we book pretty much every Saturday at the community center for several years. And if you took COVID out of it, probably 99% of our Saturdays have been booked for already, since 2015.
Yeah, so whatever the date is for the next year, that Saturday, they'll have a number of applications. They do a lottery
Yeah,
for that, and then a lot of those will roll to a next Saturday, just.
Friday morning, unless it's leap year.
yeah. Well, wonderful. I don't have any other questions unless,
And one more-
yeah.
we're just looking at indoor facility rentals, is that correct? Are in just a room, not any add-ons or anything, we're not looking at any of those? Okay. I don't have any other questions, thank you.
Any other comments? And I suppose, are there any public comments regarding this
There are no public comments.
discussion?
No, I just comment, I was glad to hear, I like the idea of updating it on a regular basis, somebody that works in a industry that is subject to fees, it's always much nicer when they're updated on a regular basis rather than, hey, one time you come in thinking it's gonna be one price and then boom, it's a 200% increase. So I also think it's well in line with the work that the team continues to do there and to stay on top of maintenance and beautification of the facility. It looks great and it's in great condition. It's the crown jewel of the community. So
I would agree with, kind of doing incremental updates, over time so that, people who are regular users don't necessarily get hit with the shock of like some big increase in rates to kind of bring them up to current conditions. Right. Well, no further comment. Well, I guess we can, kind of put this forward for a motion on this subject. Go ahead.
I'll move that we approve an increase of 5% increase for facility rental fees for all district facilities and an additional 5% for Saturdays effective February 1, 2026.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes. Thank you, Brian. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah.
You did a better job than Lance for this.
So, we'll move on to, item 7, which is,
We moved the Budget and Finance Committee meeting to February 4th at 11 a.m. So
Okay.
just update that, so we don't have a report.
No
And then
reports.
Director Tran would like to schedule a Land and Facilities Development Committee meeting, so we'd like to do that for the beginning of February. So
We do it now?
the first or second, yeah, we can do it now. First or second week.
We do it first week, I got Thursday, the 5th.
When?
Can we do like sort of late afternoon, sometime 3 to 5-ish? In that range?
Like 3?
3?
Yeah, 3 would work, just in the off chance that I get Thursday as a practice time for our girls softball team.
Okay.
Like, they don't allow me to make it to practice.
Okay,
Let's do.
do you want it different or?
No, cause I mean, I don't know when we'll have, 3 will work either way, cause I
Okay.
can,
Okay. Great.
Cause your practice starts at 5?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. 1, 2, 5. I will send a meeting invite.
Thank you.
That's it.
good. All right, well, on to item 8 is the board announcements and requests of staff. We can start with Director Tran.
Not too much. I have in the last couple of weeks been participating in our various city council members' town halls, which is nice to sort of see that our council representatives are reaching out to the community and the public just to talk about different things. And so they've been well done, and a lot of information in those. So that's great. A little bit early, but just a reminder that Lunar New Year will be coming up February 17th. February 17th, yeah. And there's a number of different celebrations. I think the library has their celebration on that day, that Tuesday. We have line dancing, I'm assuming, and then Saturday, a number of different events around the city as well too. So just encourage everybody to participate, and hopefully the district can also partake as well too. Other than that, that's it for me.
Yes, Director Vincent.
I enjoyed the employee recognition event that we had, or that we, were able to go to, and it was well done, and liked seeing everybody there. That's all I have. I'm heading to very cold Colorado Saturday, but I'll come back on Wednesday.
Keep it warm for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully safe travels and no, mishaps with the airport or anything.
So far, I don't think so. I think we're okay.
Yeah, just more of we had a kind of in lines with the community center, we had roster night for PHBA last night. So we had like 200 plus coaches and volunteers and rostering 1,900 kids, which is the largest number of kids we've had in PHBA. We've got people still coming in and trying to sign up today. We're rostering kids, trying to get them in. But the one thing I wanted to report was last night, there were so many comments about the facility, about the community center, about how easy it was to hear and how great the sound system worked and how comfortable it felt and how spacious it was and how just generally it was I think they had been, when I started, it was at the country club, and then the last several years had been at Back 40. And, they were looking for a new place, and, we all were like, I'm gonna go to the community center. And so it was nice to be there and hear all the compliments from everybody about how awesome the facility was. So kudos to everybody for keeping that building looking so awesome. But yeah, they wanted me to, again, they're gonna be emailing, I think Michelle, Mark was gonna be reaching out about the parade, so make sure you all have that.
Yeah, I was curious, that was already scheduled yet or not?
It was the first.
March 7th.
March 7th?
Yeah, first Saturday in March.
I haven't got any details yet, but when I do, I should let you know. Put it on the calendar.
I'm gonna say it's definitely gonna rain, so hopefully it doesn't.
Yeah.
It could be sunny all week, but it will rain.
It will rain on that day. We could have no rain between now and then.
Yeah, yes, there you go. That's it, thank you.
Yeah, as for me, I'm looking forward to our board retreat that's coming up, next week. So we'll get to spend a day together and talk through things on our agenda. And then also, I really appreciated the staff appreciation event. That was very well orchestrated. I wanted to also kind of acknowledge Allie Craw and her contributions, kind of emceeing that event and helping to coordinate it. As a appreciation, all the work that she does with putting together the teeter-totter helps keep us informed. I have to say, even though as board members we're not looking for the district, I guess we can feel somewhat like we live a little bit vicariously through the staff, and the types of relationships that are built. It's just really endearing to hear how the supervisors talk about the people that are getting acknowledged for their years of service. They get emotional, and everything comes out at that type of event. It's I want to make sure that people know that's not common, with the different employers that you would work with. I don't expect that, when I have my reunion for my anniversary for 20 years employment or whatnot, that people would be, teary-eyed and talking about me. But, it's really nice to see that, sort of the family, that comes together, and how you talk, finally about each other's employees, like, well, we stole them from this department or whatnot, so, but, real special appreciations to Allie, and, sort of the enthusiasm she brings to everything she does and the motivation. It's really you know, part of the culture of the district that I so appreciate. And like I said, you know, it's nice for us as board members to kind of at least feel like, you know, we're a part of that, even though we're not employed by the district. So thanks to Ally, and looking forward to next week. So with that, I'll close meeting at 7:22.